Hi, everybody. My name is Tara. I'm a compulsive eater and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I commit them for my sponsor. I don't eat in between meals no matter what, and abstinence gives me a kick ass life today. And my abstinence date is March 14th, 2015. And God, it feels good. It feels really good. Um, yeah, I kind of want to think about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. And if I go off script, I'm sorry. Um, Sidekick gave me a bug of some kind. So he's been sick all weekend and I've been sick all day. Um what it was like. I was looking for the passage in the big book that talks about all the ways the alcoholic tries to control their drinking. And for as many ways as the alcoholic tries to control their drinking is as many ways as I tried to control my eating. And I started very young. I was in 5th grade. A lot of you heard this. I was on it. My mother put me on. It was a paperback book, and it was the Women's Doctor's Diet for Women. Now, like that's how long ago it was that they had to say it was a woman doctor. All right. Um, and then I so to be clear, I started dieting in 5th grade. I found Overeaters Anonymous at the age of 28, and that was when I hit goal weight. Like it never happened before then. I dieted my way up and up and up. Um, After that came Diet Workshop, which was very much, I think, like Weight Watchers. It was the same idea, but my mother's best friend was the leader. And I did a bunch of those groups. I then went on to try Weight Watchers. I tried like Slim Fast. I found that went really well with a lunch thing that you hold in your hand. I I never did pills and I never did surgery. I did do exercise. My mother would buy me like the Victoria Principal Pilates videos and the Jane Fonda step aerobics videos. And I was on the swim team at the Y when I was a kid. And I remember one year saying at the dinner table, because we were the family that sat down for dinner every night, and saying at the dinner table that I wanted to quit swimming. And my father looked at me and said, "You'll turn into a walrus." And I was probably 5th or 6th grade, like just what you want your daddy to say. From there, I would read all the magazines, right? The teen magazines and things like that, and whatever they had in there. And I tried, and nothing worked. Like I just want to be clear, I kept going up and up and up, and nothing worked. And um, I never like lost. I'm so jealous of people I hear in these halls that talk about how they would lose the weight and then put it back on. I never took it all the way off. I would get to a certain point and then I would go back up again. And this went on for years and years and years. And I don't know, so in 5th grade, you're 11, and so I hit goal weight at 28. So that's 17 years of eating at that point. And plus all the years before that. And I think about it often because I relate much more to the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous as a compulsive eater than I do an alcoholic. But I will be very honest with you, I have no business picking up alcohol. Absolutely none. I absolutely lost my right to drink. Um, because I can't do it in safety. And whether it's because of the amount of sugars and carbs and what that does to my system or not, I don't care, right? At this point, I don't care. Um, so I just relate so much more to it. And, my journey was that I got sober. Well, first of all, the closest I got to hitting goal weight was my junior year in college, sophomore, junior year in college. And I had a boyfriend who he got sick and tired of my complaining about my weight while I was going to the buffet, and said something. And I want to believe that he was saying that out of love and kindness and also frustration of like you keep saying that and that just and then you go to the table. And I got angry and I got scared and I started eating like no fat carbohydrates but with like no fat, and I went to like step aerobics 5 days a week, and I'm 20 years old, and we had a footbridge that went across campus because the commuter rail ran through campus, and I did so much damage from going up and down those, like going from 0 to high impact aerobics 5 days a week, that I couldn't walk over the step bridge. Like my shins and my knees absolutely killed me. um, but I managed to lose some of the weight and I managed to feel pretty good. And then that relationship went to hell in a handbasket. And around the time the relationship went to hell in a handbasket was when I turned 21. And and when I turned 21, all the years of not having a good fake ID were all over now. Now I was off to the races, and I could drink wherever I wanted and whenever I wanted, and that was something I had waited for my whole life. My parents were both drinkers. My mother died sober 41 years in this program. I mean, in AA, and and I never took a drink I didn't feel like guilty about at one in one said, but in the other side of it, my parents didn't drink in the home. They drank like at Auntie Maureen's or at the Elks or any place else. And so what we got in the home was the slamming of the cabinets and all that stuff. And I would see them at a social event and they would just be like happy and joyous and fun. And I couldn't wait to drink because I associated it with happiness, right? I just couldn't wait. And then when I started drinking, I couldn't wait to drink again. And I definitely got high off of sugar. I won't say I get a high off of my food now, but definitely some of the higher, the higher carb vegetables and things like that. And my number 10 proteins, oh my god, do I love them. Oh, do I love them. And I love that they end. I love that they end. So anyway, what brought me to this program was when I got sober, they said make a list of everything you want out of life, and I was 22. So I wanted a full time teaching job, a boyfriend, and a new car. Now, skip ahead. I'm now 28 years old. I'm living with my sidekick. I'm teaching, and I've been teaching now for like 5 years. And I had a new car parked outside, and I wanted to slip my wrist, and I did not know why. I did not know why. And Joe and I met, and I'll tell part of his story as part of mine. Um, and that is that, we would our like AA dates would be going to a meeting, getting a quart of frozen something and two spoons and sitting together after the meeting. And and we just and then on weekends going to get the Jewish bakery items for breakfast from the local place and that sort of thing. And now we're living together. So now like there's like all bets are off type thing. And um there was this one weekend when he was taking care of his mother who had Parkinson's, and I had gone out with people from from our AA community, and this one woman was talking about OA, and she was going. The dog is trying to get the computer. She was going to the 90-day OA community, which was in the greater Boston area, to like right around the corner from Cambridge, and and she said what I needed to hear that night. And so I remember calling her a couple of days later after I tried to purge that night. And purging was not a part of my story. I, again, will admit to my humanness is that I used to be very jealous of bulimics and anorexics because it wasn't as easy to see their disease on the outside as it is to see the fat girl. And I feel like I need to do like some serious 10th step work around that at some point in time now that I'm like saying it out loud. Um, but so yeah, I tried to purge and I went to that meeting and that started my journey in OA. And what happens is that I lost all the weight. First time I hit goal weight, I was so excited. I remember sitting there and like saying to Joe one day, I don't think I can get any skinnier. Oh my gosh. Like, I was 30, 29, 30, 28. I don't know. And it was just amazing. It was so amazing. But then what happens is that when you hit goal weight, they add carbohydrates back in, right? Now, not like refined ones, but still carbohydrates. And it worked for a while until it didn't. And it just came that day. And it's just like how I was able to drink in safety for like an hour and a half, and then I wasn't. And it was the same thing with the carbs. And the
15 minutes.
thing that's how many?
I'm sorry. I said it completely wrong. You've got 5 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. I just broke out in a sweat. Um, and so yeah, so so then Joe and I got married, and a year after we got married, in that first year, he had a break, and um, he started eating again. And then we were married just over a year when we got pregnant with our oldest daughter. And I had this real tug of war about becoming a parent because I didn't think I was good enough. And when we got pregnant with Ashlyn, I remember I went to a women's to women's conference. It was like AA and Al Anon participation. And my fear just went through the roof. And I binged on fruit. And if I can ask you to, if you ever have to binge, don't do it on fruit, man. Oh my God. Oh, the pain. I can still feel the pain. I can still feel the pain. Um, and that started a series. After that, I did fine the rest of my pregnancy until after the baby was born. And then I had another break. And I remember we were at my brother's wedding, and Ashlyn was 3 weeks old, and I was the breastfeeding bridesmaid because my mother insisted I be in this wedding because you got to buy a dress anyway. You might as well just buy that one. Never mind the fact I'm about to become a mother for the first time, and I don't know what I'm doing, but okay. Um, and I had a break. We we had a break that weekend, and I remember going up to the coffee bar at the wedding, and I almost put Kahlua in my coffee because I was like putting cream in it and stuff that I never did before, and that scared me. Um, and it wasn't until a year later that I was slipping and sliding, and I had come across a woman who had been a longtime gray sheeter. She was from the Cambridge community. Her name was Susie H. Joe had introduced me to her, and she had introduced me to Gray Sheet, and I called her up, and the slipping and sliding just kept getting worse and worse. And I said, I knew I needed that last house on the left, and they did refer to this community in the other AAOA community, not so friendly, and I'll just leave it like that. But I got abstinent for about 18 months in Gray Sheet. And then I made a decision one day when I forgot my lunch. And I was working, I'm a school teacher, but I was working in a job that was an office job. So I could have left the building and gone to the store and gotten a lunch. And instead, I just said, whatever, and started eating. And I think I ate for about 5 years, off and on for about 5 years. And at the end of that time, we were eating together, and he got approved for gastric bypass, and I knew that wasn't the answer for people like us. And I went to a support group with him, and I walked out of that support group, and I said to God, you got to help me help him. And God's idea was for me to get abstinent. And that's what happened, is that I had been subscribing and unsubscribing to the Gray Net, and someone posted that they were available. And this is a person I know today, but she's nobody I would ever like reach out to. But she was there for me that day, and she got me started back onto Gray Sheet. And that was back in 2008. And I was abstinent until 2014 when I wasn't attending live meetings. We live in an outpost, and I find the phone bridge to be very difficult. And I was only doing AA meetings and calling my sponsor. And and I had a couple of slips, or I made independent decisions. That's really what it was. I made an independent decision, and she's like, "Yeah, you and I are
Yeah.
done. You need to call somebody else." And she handed me off to somebody, and this person has been my sponsor ever since. And there was another time after that that I let my daughter's dance teacher be my higher power when my scale failed in a restaurant, and that's the type of thing I don't do today anymore. You know, and so it's March 14th, 2015. I love when 2000 March 14th, 2000. I don't remember right now. It don't matter. March 14th, 2015. Whenever I see that Facebook memory of that dinner with the dance team come up on my Facebook, it's like I know exactly what that is, right? That's that night. That's the night I ate the whole piece of protein and all of the vegetable and everything else. But when I had slipped, when I left program, when I made that choice back in 2002 to not make my lunch work and just to go out, I got so sick again, almost as bad as I did when I binged on fruit, that those two
Times.
instances, thank you, when I picked up this time, I knew not to eat anything off a gray sheet, right? Like, you know what? Yep, you screwed up. You're going to day one. But if you put anything else in your system right now, your body's going to be so damn pissed. And my body works for me today, and it's amazing. And I love this meeting. I am so grateful that Joe M and I were having a conversation one day about, hey, why can't we have a meeting just because we're not on the West Coast? Because at the time it was only like Western states that had the Zoom meetings. So we started this meeting, I can't remember how long ago, and I'm so grateful. And I will stop talking and I don't eat no matter what.